Hey there, welcome to my channel. I am Jay. Today I'm ready with another episode of this series. In the last episode we have covered the continuous integration and the continuous delivery, and finally we deployed our services on the staging and the production environment. Today in this episode we will work on refactor the code base and keep the meaningful data close to the services, and we will focus on the revoke redundant data and some of the dependencies to keep the microservices loosely coupled so we can have a clear communications between the services. Let's understand the real life use cases. Now you can see these are the microservices we have right now, and this is the one of the service it will come in future. So now on the product service, it is responsible to do certain operations related to products only, where we can perform all the CRUD operations related to products. We can get the category, or maybe we can add two more functionality, which is going to be stock availability, product ratings, and so eventually we are just trying to keep all the product related operations close to the product service. The similar things we are going to do for the customer as well as, so where we will try to keep all the customer operations, customer onboarding, login, profile, and getting profile, or maybe editing profile or something, whatever the required operations, we are just try to keep it here. The requirement of the customer service we can achieve in two ways. The first one is we can keep all the shopping cart references, order or wishlist reference right here in the customer, right? Whenever we are just creating a kind of cart, then we will provide that specific reference ID or maybe card ID, order ID, or wishlist ID to customer. So customer service will keep it in its own database, and while we will looking for specific option of operations or maybe specific card, order, or wishlist, then customer service will be responsible to give the data. So as I told you in the beginning, also we are just try to remove the dependencies. So we will try to keep the minimum communications from each service, and we will try to revoke the unnecessary references or unnecessary the communications from the services. So it'll make our service lean and loosely coupled. So each and every service can perform their operations independently, right? And so that is the first one. And second one is like, we can just get rid of all the stuff, and we can keep only the customer ID or maybe customer reference to the responsible service. So in our case, the shopping service is the responsible for performing all the operations related to shopping in terms of adding to the wish list, adding to the cart, payment, order, dispute, and sales, and whatever, right? So you can imagine, like, if shopping service is responsible for doing all the stuff, then shopping services needed a kind of reference ID, right? It's maybe in the product or maybe customer or something else. So in that case, we are simply keeping the customer ID right here, and we will keep the product reference ID right here. So shopping service will be accommodated accordingly the whole information, right? So these are the things exactly we will do in this episode. So in the diagram, you can see this is the thing exactly we are going to cover in this episode. The first one is the customer will publish something, all right? That it will take care by the shopping service, because the product service is not required anything to publish or subscribe. And why exactly it's needed? Because some of the call, or maybe while we are updating our profile, or maybe we are deleting our profile, we should have to remove the specific shopping informations or maybe some kind of open data from the shopping service, right? It doesn't make sense to keep while the customer will go away, then keep all the wishlist or maybe card information right here. So that's why we are just try to publish one kind of event, and that specific event it will take care by the shopping service. So these are the things exactly is happening, publish and subscribe. And from the product service, exactly, it has a kind of RPC communication with the shopping service. Why? Because while we will be browsing some product and we will try to add to cart, then our shopping service will send a kind of product ID reference to product service. Then product service will give the kind of whole data, whatever related data to the product, maybe product price, maybe unit or availability or something else. It can be done from the front end as well as, right? But why we are not doing from the front end? Because anybody can inject the price. Like maybe you can as a kind of front end perspective, you can inject the price, right? You can modify the price whenever we are just sending the product information. So that's a kind of bad practice at all. Like sending all the product price and unit and everything. Yeah, unit is makes sense, but the price exactly doesn't make sense. Okay, so for keep it secure, while we will be adding to the cart, then our shopping service will keep only the ID, product ID, and product quantity. All right, then it will just give a kind of call, RPC call to product service, and hey, give me this product information. I got this product ID and quantity, and now I needed the availability and the pricing information. So it'll fetch all the informations from product service to RPC, and it'll calculate right here, and it'll just create the cart or maybe orders, something like that way. So these are the things exactly we are going to do. I know it's a lot of explanation, but I wish to make it clear so you people can understand each and every bit of whatever exactly I'm just trying to teach you. All right, so this is the repository which we are going to use, and right now I'm going to clone this repository from here. All right, so let's start with the customer service. In the customer service, go to the source code here, and inside the source code, let's go to this index.js file where we are just creating our server. So here everything is correct, and go to the Express app here, nothing to do with this script as well as. So what we can do is just to simply remove this unused variables from here, right? And this comment stuff we will handle later on. Go to the customer. This is kind of API, or inside the API in this customer.js. Here, this subscribe stuff is going to be not required from here. Why? Because our customer service is not subscribing anything, right? It is only publishing something. So let's comment this out first. And our sign up is correct. And login also perfect, and address, this is also correct, and profile also perfect. This shopping and wish list, these are the two routes exactly it's not required here, because we are going to shift these two routes from this customer service to shopping service, right? So another route is going to be needed, that is called our delete profile. So let's use this route and rename it to delete. Okay, cool. Once we are deleting the profile, we need to notify to our shopping service as well as, hey, I have just deleted my profile from here. So you can just clear it out, all the cart and wishlist informations for the specific user. Okay, that's other kind of note here. This is deleting the profile, so certainly this function not going to delete our profile. So let's add a kind of function here in the service, which is called delete profile, right? So let's create this profile there. So let's go to service here in the customer service. In the customer service, let's sign in is required, sign up is required, add new address, this is also required, get profile also required. Yes, get shopping details and wishlist and manage order. Yeah, the rest of all functions, these are exactly, it's not necessary here. Okay, cool. From here, we are just going to comment it out, and we are going to add one more function. This is called and the same thing like we did for our repository, you know, to find a customer by ID, we need to perform a kind of delete operation right there as well as. So let's add that specific function to our repository first, then we will utilize here. Go to customer repository here, create customer is cool, and address is also perfect. Find the customer, this is also perfect. Find customer by ID, this is also perfect. So these are commented out. Let's get rid first, then cool. Then find customer by ID, this is also good, and this wish list and rest of all it's not required. So let's again comment it out, all the stuff from start to end. Cool. So now it is super clean, and right now we are going to add one more function that is called delete our customer by ID. So now we are just deleting from here. So you can put await also, that's not an issue. Or if you are not going to put await, that is also, then also this promise is going to result, because why? From the customer service, here we are calling this specific function, and this customer, the function is going to be called from here in the delete operations, you can see, and here we are just putting await. So here if you are putting await, this await will be called this function, and that specific function will call this repository one. So anyway, that promise is going to be resolved from there. From repository part is done. Now go to the customer service one, where we will add a couple of code. First data, and here yeah, here we need the data, so that's why we just put await, because this data will be needed to create a payload. This repository dot delete customer by ID, and we will simply pass the ID. Cool. Now payload, and this payload will have kind of event, because this event we need to pass to our shopping service. And so you can simply put this one right here, user ID, and you can pass it as well as, then you no need to assign it anymore. And now just a simple return from here. Return from here. First one will data, and second one is payload. Cool. So our customer service also done. This function also covered. Now let's go to the API, and here we will utilize this one. Okay, so this is not a kind of object. We'll simply pass it as a parameter, and here we can get payload. Cool. Here in the payload we are sending the message which is called publish message, right? Instead of subscribe message, we will publish a message. Publish message, and this one it will go here. Publish message, and channel. This channel exactly it is coming from here on the top, right? Let's get rid of this one. And now yeah, channel. Second parameter will be our service name, to which service we are sending the specific message. In our case, shopping service. So this is imported from config, right? Yeah, cool. And after that we need to send the payload. All right, so this payload we need to send it right here in the publish message third parameter, but not as a kind of JSON. We need to stringify that one. There's some stringify this payload. Cool. So our customer service is ready. All right, so our customer service is clear. Right now let's go to the shopping service here. So here we will go to this this index.js file where we are just creating a server. Here in this Express app, as well as nothing to change, some of the unused stuff, that is we will be clear right after the measure changes. And now let's go to the API part, which is called inside the API shopping.js. Here this subscribe message is going to be needed because our shopping service is subscribing something from our customer service. Now let's rearrange a little bit the routes from here. So we are keeping this card informations here, that is we will keep it on the top. All right, so when we will invoke all this function, then our card operation has to be taken place. Okay, so first let's rename this to post. Okay, cool. And because if it doesn't exist, then we will be creating from here. And now what we need to do, we need to look into our data model, which is called card data model. Here you can see we are keeping bunch of information. So those are all the informations are not required. So first of all, the description, and description is not required. All right, so banner or image, you can keep it. Okay, and type is not required, unit is required, price is required, supply is not required. Cool. So these are the information only needed for our card model. Cool. Now let's add some modifications here. Add card, add to card. Cool. And this has to be added to our service. Go to shopping service. Let's add all the card informations here. In the shopping service, we'll add one function. This is called and right. All right, so this function will take care of our add to cart, and now let's add one more. This is going to remove the cart items. Remove cart. Remove cart item. And here customer ID and the product ID going to be needed. All right. And this one is going to be like and get the card ID, right? So this is for orders. Okay, these are the functions. First one is add card item. Okay, rename it at card items. Or yeah, keep it singular. Add card item, remove card item, and get card. Cool. So these are the things we are going to take care from here, which is called add card item, and this is going to be remove card item, and this is going to be like get card by ID. This is cool. Okay, and here, so this is going to be orders. Okay, so in the shopping service we have added these 3 functions, right? And from the shopping API we are just going to call all those. For add card item we need to have the request body. That's going to be like const equal to body, and here we need to provide it. So these are the things exactly we will be pass it here. The first one is ID, that's cool, and second one is our product ID and quantity. Okay, because add to card item expecting 2 parameters, right? So once you're getting the data, then we will pass it on. Now let's move forward to delete one, where we need only the ID, user ID. Yeah, that's perfect, because for remove card the customer ID is going to be needed, and after that the whatever the ID exactly it is coming from the parameters, that is going to be needed. So let's add this one, product ID equal to request the params request.params.id. Cool. So this product ID we're going to use here. Okay, so this is done, and now what we need to do here in the get card items, right? Get card items also we can get all the informations like this. So yeah, you can put as an object or maybe as a parameter, that's up to you. So now let's go to here in the get card. Here we are getting this one. Okay, cool. So we are not going to use this format data anymore, so we're simply returning from here. Return, and this is only one parameter, so it doesn't make sense to put as a kind of object. And here, now let's go here. Now, okay, so if we are not using the format, then we no need to grab the data from that specific object. Just simply we are just grabbing the object from there, and we're returning here, because here we are simply returning this one without putting a weight, because now here we are just keeping a weight here. So anyway, it's going to be result from here. Cool. Now these are covered from here. Let's go to the shopping service right now, and we'll be take care from the add to cart. All right. So add some code to the add to cart function here. Okay. So here in the add to cart function, what we will do? First, we will grab the product information from the product service to RPC, and after that, we will validate if it is valid stuff. Then we will proceed further, and we will add this specific product information to our repository. Okay, and if it is not there, then we will throw some kind of error. So let's do that one. And after that, we will check if that the product response is its true value, or product response has some value, right? And product response has ID, product ID. Then we will perform that specific operations, else. Now here we need to add to repository, right? So let's add a kind of function which is going to be handle our managed cart stuff. Again, we will just put this cart informations on the top. Here, this is getting cart. Okay, that's cool. So we can simply return from here cart model of find one. This is find one customer by customer ID. So let's use the ES6 syntax. So this is not required to pass the 2 objects. Okay, customer ID is perfect. All right, so this is add to cart function. What we need to do, we will going to rename a bit, because the same function we are going to call for removing the card also, or adding the card also. So add card item, it doesn't make sense for removing, right? So let's rename this function as a kind of manage card. First, customer ID is needed, and item we will not keep as item. So I'm gonna get rid of all this function from here. Okay, so we are going to rewrite this function, and this is going to be our product, and this is quantity, and is removed. That's perfectly fine. So let's check first. We will take const personality, and what's your personality, then if card is present, right, else will create one. Cool. Let's have one, and here return card model dot create, and let's say our personality and correct, our items will be our correct and correct and correct into the card. So maybe we need to take care of our data model. So what we did here, items, product, yeah, it's perfect, right? Item has a product, and product has all this information, and after that it has a unit. Cool. So let's go here in the shopping repository, and let's verify the cart model is creating the stuff. Okay, and along with the customer ID and items, we have the product, and product has all the rest of all product information, which is we are going to pass it here, and unit will be our quantity, whatever the desired amount of the specific product is going to be needed. Cool. Now let's go at the exist case. Okay, if it is already exist, then we will check if is remove is getting called, because if you try to remove, then we will handle the remove case. Else, if it is not removing, right, and if it is not removed, right, then we will update the existing card with the quantity and all the stuff. So in this case, this time what we are going to do, we are going to use a kind of library which is called nodejs. You people may be familiar with the nodejs. So let's install these things to our shopping service. Let's import nodejs here. Require nodejs. Cool. Now inside the update card function, here comes that's where you'll find this card dot items, and we'll send it right as there's inside ID will be right. Here cards insert anyone else. Here what we are doing, we're just trying to find the card index, right, by performing this find index operation. So nodejs is very helpful to perform such a kind of operations, where we are just putting all the card items right here, and we are just providing the product ID here. Okay, so finally we are getting the index. If we are checking, like, if that specific index is greater than -1, then we are just updating the information, right, the specific unit of whatever the desired quantity we are just providing here. Okay, and right now if it is not available, or that specific product doesn't exist here inside the cart, then we are just simply pushing the cart that specific product to the cart items, right? And finally we are just saving it right here. Okay, so which is we are returning a cart save. Okay, this is a kind of function. So okay, let's put it there. Okay, here also we are putting a weight, so let stay consistent. Okay, or you can either we can put a weight everywhere here, or maybe we can just get omit from here as well as. So anyway, this managed card going to be resolved from there. Okay, now this part is done. Now let's add to some code to the remove part. Here we'll find the card and we'll card dot has and here we'll and item dot product dot what it will do, simply it will filter out all the product informations which is exactly not equal to this product, right? Skipping this product. If product ID is not equal to this one, then it will provide the rest of all items, right? Now simply override the card items with card items, right? And once this is done, then it will go on, because this is inside the same function, right? So technically what we need to do, we need to just move out this one from here, because eventually if you're removing or if you're adding, still we need to execute this one, right? That's cool. Now this managed cart function is done. Cool. Now let's go to the shopping service here, and where we are trying to call this add cart information, we will call this specific function here. Right now const data will be our await and service this repository and manage card. Here we will put our request user ID. This is going to be our customer ID, and secondly we will put the response data, product response. This product response, it will be a kind of product information. All right, and after that we will put the quantity. Okay, cool. And finally, once this is done, then we will return this one. Return data. So this data is returning here, and if it is not going through, then we will just simply throwing the error here. Cool. Now this part is done, and remove card we need to just take care the same way we need to do this. We will provide ID, because this managed card is accepting as a kind of object which is called product. So product ID will be product ID. Later on, quantity is not required and the remove is true. So it will perform the same operation, right? Here also you can put await. Cool. Now this is resolving the same thing, right? The managed card, and this is resolving the same thing, but it is adding the card. All right, then add to cart function is done. Now let's take care of the RPC call part. Okay, so how we can add this RPC call? Then we will having a kind of a round of testing from the customer and service. Let's go to the product service here, and the product service. Go to the source code. Let's see what are the things we can change right there. And index, there's nothing to change. Express app as well as we are not going to change anything here. And let's go to API part here in the product create type, get IDs. Yeah, this is all perfect. But this wishlist part, delete wishlist, put the card, add to card item, all those stuff is not required. Right? These are not required. We're going to comment out all the stuff. Okay, cool. All right, so here inside the product service, inside the source and inside the util, and here this index.js file, we will be adding the RPC communication codes here right after this these general functions. Okay, here these are the things exactly it's not required. We are not going to use this RESTful like webhooks. Let's remove this stuff from here. Here in the message broker section, we'll be adding the codes from this repository, which is I have already explained in our previous episode. So let's go to this repository, right? These links. I'll provide this link in the description below, and inside the source directory, and go to this rpc.js file. Okay, from here we'll be grabbing everything from here. Cool. So let's grab from here till here, copy, and let's go here and right after this one, edit. Cool. So now let's try to move all the stuff to on the top of the file, this import stuff. Cut it here and we will put it there because this is already exists. Okay, and this is Axios is not going to use at all, so let's omit this one from here. Okay, now let's go to bottom of the file. Why we are not closing all the stuff from here? Cool, perfect. Now this one let's move right here, and or maybe you can just keep on the top, at the top of the file right there, right after the import. Okay, cool. And this one, get channel, right? The get channel, we will just keep it right after this message broker where we are just creating the channel. So here also we are creating channel by providing that the message queue URL. So we are putting this message queue URL right here, right? And certainly it will just create a kind of connection, which is we are doing in this line, right? Just to get rid of this line, and now we can just fairly call this one. Okay, get channel. So it's perfect now. All right, perfect. So we are using the same get channel over here as well as now this publish message is going to be used, and this function not going to be used anymore right here. Only what we are going to do in this product service, we are only just observing the stuff, right? We are not sending the request, right? From here and this one, these are the two functions are not required, just to get rid this one, and only we will just use this one, right? RPC observer. So let's do like this way. Dot exports dot RPC observer. Cool. Now here, instead of the fake response, what we will do, we will pass our service. This service will take care of observing the stuff and fulfill the requirement, while we will be observing our this RPC stuff. Then if we receive any kind of request, then it will forward the specific request payload to the service, and this service is a kind of service which is called product service, and product service is going to fulfill the requirement. So let's add this service right here and implement the service stuff here. First, the payload, this is perfectly fine, and here instead of response, we will do, we will simply use service serve RPC request, right? And here we will simply pass the payload. Cool. Okay, we are getting the channel here, right, with the help of this URL, and after that we are observing the RPC stuff, whatever it is calling from other service, right? And we're handing over to our service, and we are getting the response, and same way we are just sending it back. Okay, cool. Now let's go to the product service here, and inside the product service we need to respond accordingly that specific observer. Here on the bottom of the file, we'll be adding RPC response, right? RPC response. Okay, async serve RPC request, right? Payload, and it will look for const payload. Here will be payload will be type and data. Fine. Switch. We'll put a switch right here, which is called type, and this one will go like view product, and if this view product then return on the this dot repository dot find by ID, right? And that ID will be data. Cool. And next one going to be same. Okay, and this is going to be like view products. This time we are just putting as plural products. And this one find selected products, and here also we are just putting the data, right? And this break will be not required. Default is perfectly fine. Okay, so this sharp RPC request, it will call from here this function, right? That's cool. Now let's place this observer somewhere exactly where we can listen the RPC calls. So let's go to this API from this product service, and inside the products here we can get rid of all those like the publish and all. Start from here. This is not required. Cool. This is not required, and simply we can just put right after this RPC observer utils, right? And here we can put which RPC it is, product RPC, it will observe product RPC and it will pass this service. So this product service. Cool. So our RPC stuff is added right here. Cool. And we can get rid of all this data, but let's try this out from the shopping service as well as. Okay, so we will be implementing the same thing to shopping service as well as. Here in the shopping service, we will do the same thing. Let me add the stuff from here. Let's add this UID 4. Maybe it is already there, this shopping service. Let's get verify. UID is here. That's cool. And now, yeah. Here now, we are going to copy this one and add right after this on the top of the file, and let's add the rest of all the codes. That is going to be get channel, and from here to the last copy. Okay, let's go to the bottom of the file and we will put all those things here. Perfect. Let's modify the codes here. First of all, what we need to do, yeah, this get channel, let's take it up a bit right after this one, and we will be using this message queue URL here, and make sure we are using here as well as. So instead of this create channel, will be use get channel. Perfect. Now this publish message is fine, and subscribe message is also fine, and expensive DB operation, so this is we are not going to perform here. Here in this file, we are not going to use any kind of observer, because from this shopping service, we are only sending the RPC request. As you can see here, we are only sending the RPC request by asking some certain products ID or product information, right? So, and once we are getting it back, then we will be updating our information, right, accordingly. So this call exactly the product service will observe, and shopping service will request only. So technically this observer is not required here in the shopping service. So let's remove this one. Then request data is needed. That is exactly, we are just calling it from here. And this RPC request we need to export. So let's export this one. Exports. Cool. Now let's go to add this specific call where exactly we left. Right. So we are going to close all the files, and in the shopping service, right, go to API and the shopping, and when we are going to add to cart item, then here we need to call this RPC call. So we need to implement our RPC request right here in the add to cart. So let's add the specific code here, and we're going to import await RPC request, and request will be our queue name, which is it's a kind of product RPC. Okay, and after that we need to put that specific payload that is going to be type will be view product, and our data will be our product ID. So as soon as this function will get called, right, then product service here in the API here, this function will get fired, right, by this specific the queue name. Then once this is fired, then this service is going to take care of all the specific events. See, this view product is getting called from here, right, this view product, and view product has a kind of product ID that is exactly responding to this one, right, and this is resolving the same. Now we can just have a kind of a round of test. Okay, so what we can do now, let's open the terminal, and here I am going to split the terminal. Let's install everything, right, and here, but what we need to do, we need to add our environment file also, just to run from our local machine, right? So let's add the env file stuff. So this is going to be our localhost, something like this, and this is fine, 8001. So we are going to copy all those things from here, at least these things from here. And let's go to the product as well, as we will do the same with the product. So this is, we will paste it, and this one is going to be localhost. Okay, and now let's go to shopping as well, as we'll do the same thing for shopping also, and this one is going to be a localhost. Okay, why exactly two app secret is here? And this is going to be the same queue. Cool. Now our environment files are ready. Let's spin our server. Okay, no. Okay. Okay, this is one, and this is going to be our part. Okay, this is 2, and let's see this one. Cool. These are all just running perfectly, right? This shopping service, customer, and product service, right? So what we can do now, maybe we can just keep side by side. Perfect. Now let's go to our Postman, and we'll do a couple of like call from there. From the customer, what are the endpoints are there? Here, sign up, login, address, and profile, because we have the reverse proxy, but for testing purpose from our local machine, we are not going to use the reverse proxy. We are simply just going to call, spin up the server and calling by the specific port, because anyway we are going to call from here in the Postman, right? So let's yeah, this one, let's try it out, the customer one. Okay, cool. So customer sign up, we're going to call customer, because this customer base is 8001. Here you can see I have added the ports, right? The specific URL right here, 8001 is for customer, and product is 8002, and shopping is 8003. So as we are running accordingly, correct? Perfect. Now let's call this one here. Let's see. Yeah, sign up, this one, copy, and login also, it's doing the same. Maybe, yeah, it's doing the same. Yeah, right. Let's copy this one, and we'll be using here, right here, the authorization token. So throughout the services we can use the same token here. And now we are going to the product, and we're going to create a product. So this is, yeah, something like olive oil. Okay, cool. Then just for the product, I am not sure like what are the endpoints. So let's get verify from the product source, APIs, products. We have the product create, perfect, category, ID, yeah, cool. Let's call the create one. Yeah, we have just successfully created this product, right? One more product, let's say olive oil 2. Yeah, we have created 2 products, right? And if you click on the view products, then it is giving the products, right? Then let's try to add to cart. Here from the shopping service, we are having this add to cart stuff, and where we need only the product ID and the quantity, here we will put the product ID, and the quantity is 1. Okay, let's get verify the endpoints for the shopping service, this API shopping service. Yeah, it's cart, perfect. Let's add to cart. Yeah, it's something is going wrong. Okay, it is not going through. So what is the issue exactly it is having? Yeah, EU ID is not there in the shopping service. It says, yeah, maybe we forgot to add the EU ID here there in the index.js file inside the util directory. Let's add this one. So in this, inside the shopping service here, util, yeah, we don't have the UE ID. Okay, so let's import here const before ID equal to require. this is the same thing. Yeah, UID4. Okay, UID4. Cool. Now let's try it out. Now our server is up and running now. Yes, it is coming back. Now let's try that. Cool. So it says like 200 is created, right? So now if you can go to the cart, like here from get shopping cart, yeah, you can see we have the recently added the card information. Let's add 3 here, edit. Now again, just try to call this one. Can you see it's updated, right? And we are going to add one more item that's going to be from here. Let's add to cart. This one also. This is going to be 10 items, and add to cart. It's added. Right now, let's go to here, shopping cart. Click on send. Can you see right now it's added? Cool. Now it seems like our RPC call also going through. So let's verify the stuff, the flow, where exactly it is happening from this shopping service. While we are just adding to the cart, then add cart item is going to be called from here. Then it is making a kind of a product RPC call, right, by its queue name, and it is asking for that specific product information. Then it is going to trigger this RPC observer function. It is constantly observing for if any kind of incoming request for RPC. Then it is going to that one, and it is while it is receiving kind of message, right? Then it is passing the whole payload from here to this RPC, serve the RPC request from this product service, right? So if you go to the product service here, inside the service, product service, then it is serving the specific response from the database by finding that specific ID and responding back, right? Then it is receiving here exactly in the shopping API here, in the shopping service here, this response. And once as soon as it is receiving the response, then it is performing this manage cart this operation. And where we can see right now we are getting this card and stuff. Right. The same thing we are going to do for our wishlist and order as well as, right. So let's deep dive into the order part. So right now you can see in the product service also we have nothing to do with anything. So let's clean up the product service and our customer service a bit. After that we will add some code on the wishlist. Okay. So in the customer service we just kept something which is commented out. Let's delete all the stuff from here right now. And this is to do. This is not to do. We just did it, so let's remove the to do from here, and there's nothing left. Let's return. It's best practice to return as soon as you are receiving response, right? So these empty spaces are it looks awkward, so let's refactor a bit. Maybe you can use the PDR or some other linting tool also to do so. I'm using for my development, but unfortunately I don't have any kind of linter tool for here for JavaScript, and because for TypeScript I did the same. It is there. So profile also, this is perfectly fine, and this is also fine. Let's return this one as well as. Okay, cool. Now our customer service, this one customer API is clear. Let's check the service as well as customer service. So let's get rid of all those things from here. These are not required. Okay, cool. And okay, cool. All right, this is also perfectly fine. And go to database. Here in the repository, we need to get rid of all those things which is we have commented out from here. Okay, cool. Now go to the models, because we have modified our model also, right? So here in the customer model we are not required this cart and this wishlist and order. These are not required at all, because here in the diagram, as I told you, these things we are just get read from here, right? And we are just shifted all these things from here to our shopping service. Okay, so now here this is totally clear, right? Address, this is also clear, and this repository, this Mongo, this is unused exactly. So right now our customer service is totally clean. Okay, per API perspective, if you go here, this app event also it's not required. Okay, this is we are getting read from here, and the here in the entry point, if you go to an express here, these are exactly not required. Cool. All right, for error handling, in the next episode we will work on that. So in this episode we are not going to cover that one. All right, so the customer service is totally clear right now. Let's go to the product service, right? So in the product service, let's clean up one by one. So we are going to here, this app event is not required anyway, and we will go to the products. Here we can see this authorization we will use later on, but it's not required for a while we will be using that the admin microservice, then authorization is going to be needed. And these are the things exactly we are not using right here. This is perfectly fine, and yeah, we can get rid of all wishlist stuff from here. Cool. It's perfect. Now here, let's go to the service level. Now go to service. Let's see if anything is unused. Here nothing is unused. Let's go to check in the repository level, product repository. Yeah, this is not required, and yeah, this is pretty clean. It's cool. Now our product service is also totally clear. Now we need to work on a bit on the shopping service, right, where we will be adding the wish list and the orders. Okay, so first let's handle the wish list part. Okay, after that we will be adding to the order part. All right, so the cart section is done. Right now we are going to work on the wish list, and afterward we will be work on the order section. So let's add the wish list section right here. So there are a couple of routes we need to add for our wish list. So what are the routes exactly we are going to add? Let's copy this one from here and add it here. This is going to be post. That's perfectly fine. And the name is going to be wish list. And this is where we list. And after that, this one will be list. Right? After that, this one will be list. And for this list, we need to have our function level. So let's add this. Okay. Now we will add closure. After we will be source. Then we will do then. All right. So let's add some code right here, and after that, we will move to the service level. Now let's add some code. All right, while we will be calling this endpoint, then we will be creating a kind of wish list if it is exist. All right, then we will update the specific product items, and if it is not there, then we will be creating it. This function will accept the two parameters, which is called ID, which is we are grabbing it from authenticated user ID, and second one is a kind of product ID, which is we are grabbing it from the request body. Cool. And after that, this get wishlist is simply like getting all the wishlist items by specific user ID, which is we are grabbing it from here. So yeah, this is we missed here. Yeah. So authenticated user, we are just try to pass it here, and it is giving the response back. Okay. For delete the wishlist items. So what exactly it is doing? It is accepting the same way for add wishlist items. Authenticated user ID, and after that product ID, which is we need to remove from the wish list, right? And this ID exactly we are grabbing it from here, from the part parameter, right? Now let's go to the shopping service, and we will add this specific functions, right? Let's go to shopping service here. I'm gonna close rest of all, and here right after the get cart, then we'll add this, right? Add this, right? Okay. And for our cool, perfect. Now these are the functions exactly it's going to take care from the repository. So let's go to repository as well as. So here in this database shopping repository, and right after this manage cart, here we need to add this specific function. So it will be pretty much similar just like manage cart. So technically we can just duplicate this function as well as here, and just rename this function as a kind of manage wishlist. So here we don't have a wishlist model, so we need to create one. Okay, let's create a model from here. Wishlist will be similar just like cart, so let's copy the cart items from here, all the code, and add it here and rename with this one with wishlist. And this is not cart schema anymore, this is going to be wishlist. This is the schema. Here perfectly fine, the customer ID will go, that's fine, and instead of items we will going to rename this one as products, and rest of all information we will just omit, only we will keep it the ID. Cool. Because while we will be creating a kind of wish list, then we will be adding all the product informations, only keeping the product ID reference. So while we will view the wish list, then this product information, it will come from our product service. Cool. Now let's save this one, and we need to import this here. Model require wish list. Perfect. Now our wishlist model is ready. Let's go to the shopping repository once more. Here we will place wishlist model and find one by customer ID. Let's rename this one as wishlist. This is going to happen for here as well as, right? And now let's handle one by one. So I'm going to close everything, and from here we are just try to create one, because if wishlist is not there, then we need to create one, right? So here wishlist model and create. The customer ID is perfectly fine, and this one will be purely ID. ID will be ID, right? Product underscore ID. So this product ID will come from here, so we need to just remove this one and we will put it as a product ID. Perfect. Now our create one case is handled. Cool. Now let's do the next one. Right, this is how we will do it. If it's then we will not we are changing for this, right? So we will lose one thing. If it's greater than 0, then we will get one. Right? If our this is already exists, then we will get this. Our this is this. Okay. Then we will get here. So by our this is this, and this will be first. This is first, and by ID, yeah, this one is ID. This is first. Perfect. So here is right all these values, and by ID is right. It is matching here. We are finding that everything. So what we did here, so first of all, we check for wishlist, right? If the wishlist exists, then we are just try to perform this operation. And if wishlist doesn't exist, then we are just try to create one. Okay, this is not the card, this is wishlist, right? And if wishlist exists, then we are just try to check if it is not removed, right? If it is not removed is false, then we are just try to find its specific index, if that product ID exists on the wish list. If doesn't exist, all right, is greater than or less than 0, right, then we are just to try to push a kind of new item to the wish list. Perfect. And if it is already exists, then we are doing nothing. Okay. And right now here from the remove one, if we are doing remove, then just to try to find out all the products excluding that the product ID, which is by filtering out the product ID is not equal to product ID, then we are having that the excluded list of products items, right? Then again we are just overriding the wishlist products with the new one, right? Yeah, this is correct. Right now our manage wishlist is done. So let's go to the shopping service, then add to wishlist here, like a return. Product ID. Cool. And now remove one also going to be same, just like we did, but this time we need to pass the product right after product ID is true, right? So here it's always best practice to pass it as a kind of default value. All right, so rather than having kind of undefined or something uncertainty, just to try to pass a kind of default value. By default it is always going to be false, and whenever it's going to be needed, we are just trying to pass it through. Cool. Now let's handle the get wishlist functions from here. Okay, so let's add a kind of function here where we will get the wishlist items. Yep. This is not fine. One and this is my okay, so now here this one again we will return the same way this, but here we need to perform some RPC call. Let's perform the RPC call right here in order to get the latest product informations from the product service, just we did for our cart, and we will give it back, because for our wishlist we are not saving any kind of product details, only we are saving the product ID reference, right? So let's achieve that one. So I'm gonna add some code quickly and then I will just make you understand. So what we did here, first of all, we are grabbing all the products from the wishlist, which is we are calling like get wishlist by customer ID. So this function is returning the wishlist model, and with this model we will be having this products, right? We are just simply deconstructing this products here in this call. You can say this one, right? And after that, then we are checking it. If it is products is a kind of array, then we are fetching out all the IDs, right, by doing the map and returning the ID. So these IDs we are just try to pass it to the RPC call, which is called product RPC, which is we are doing right here as well, right? And this time we are doing the view product on this single product we are looking for, but this time we are just passing the IDs, right? Where this view products it's a kind of plural, and it is going to call, and once this is getting called, then it will go to the product service here, right? The same way we got the response from the RPC observer, and from the product service it will return the data, all the data from this payload, and it'll get all the IDs, right, from the product model and return it to us, right, by this one. Okay, so here in the shopping service, let's see, if we have the product response, then we are returning it, otherwise we are returning the empty stuff. So this stuff, we shouldn't have to use to return the empty stuff, but we will handle this one in another episode where we will work on the error handling. Okay, cool. So now get wishlist is perfectly, it's working, adding and removing and get the stuff, right? So it's a time to test the whole thing. Let's see what other things it's working. If it's not working, then definitely we will tweak a bit. In the wishlist section inside the shopping, add wishlist. So let's verify this endpoint. Okay, and the shopping service, yeah, this is correct. Wishlist, get wishlist by ID for delete. And now we are going to create a wishlist by grabbing the product informations. So the first item, we are just try to grab it from here and click on the add to wishlist. We are just adding it product ID, just make a call. Seems something is going wrong. So what is going wrong? We can see here in the shopping repository, this product ID is not valid, right? Let's see in the repository line number 66, right? Shopping repository line number 66. So here line number 66. This product ID has to come from here, right? That means somehow the manage wishlist, we are not providing this one from product service. Let's close rest of all. I'm going to keep on the API part, and now let's investigate why exactly it's happening. Request body product ID console.log dot body. All right, so now just to try to send product ID. Okay, cool, it is working, right? It seems right. So right now add to wishlist. All right, it's going through, and let's get verified from the database. So I'm gonna refresh the database. Right, so it seems it is getting added. Yeah, it's added right now. You can see we have restored the server because we did the modification on the models, right, in the MongoDB models right here. So that's why it is not getting updated. But now we can see we have added this product information here. You can see from this wishlist. Right, now if you are going to remove this product from the wishlist, then it should have to work in the same way, right? And send. Yeah, now we can see it is clean now. Again, let's add to wishlist again. Now you can see it is there. Cool. Only one thing is we need to take care where we will be getting the wishlist information, right? So if we are going to call this one, then we are getting the whole information. Can you see this ID exactly? We are getting it from here. If you're calling this one, then get wishlist is getting called, and it is try to get it from our database, all the products, and it is sending the RPC request to our product service where all the IDs are getting passed here, and it is giving the response. So it seems like it is working. And let's add one more item. Okay. Now you can see we have all the information here. Okay, so if we are going to edit the stuff from our product service also, it will always reflect right here because this is coming from our product service, right? That's cool. So now we have covered our wishlist section also. Now let's deep dive to our order section where we will create our orders. So here for order, we have the create order and the get orders. We can have one more route which is called order by ID. This order, and this one we'll put it right here. So order by ID. Cool. So let's take care one by one. First of all, this ID is required. That's perfectly fine. Transaction number also, that is also required, right? And the payload. So what we can do, get order by payload. This is exactly we are not going to do because from here we are not powering any kind of events, right? As I told you here in the beginning, we are just try to move the order create order section to the shopping service, so there is no any kind of communications going to be needed here. So let's get rid of all this one as well as. Okay, so from the service, maybe we will add a couple of functions, so let's take care one by one. Cool. Now here in the post order, instead of this service, we will be calling like create order, right? And this is not a kind of object we are passing it. Okay, we are just passing a kind of parameter, and this is also we are not using prompt data, so let's keep it as a data and respond back. Okay, this is a create order, and orders by ID. This orders by ID, get orders by ID, get order. Okay, and get order and get orders. That's perfectly fine. Here also we are not using any kind of prompted stuff, so let's use this way. Okay, and make sure we are returning here. All right, so we have added all the functions right here. So let's add one by one. First, let's add the create order functions to our service. Right. So go to shopping service. Right after this one, we have already plenty of functions. So let's see what are the things we can utilize. So first of all, we are going to place order. This one we are going to rename. Let's call create order. And this one we will pass it to our repository, where again we will return from here because we are not promoting any kind of data. And this one a create order repository. create new order, right, where we'll customer ID and this transaction number. Cool. And after that, this create new order, just like we did for our card. First we are just to try to find out the card model, right? And after that the card is going through. Yeah, it is perfectly fine. Process the order, price. Yeah, I think we no need to change anything right here in the for create order function. Cool, that's perfect. Now let's go to the next one, which is called order by ID. So this is called get order. So again, go to the service, get order, yeah, get order, and get orders, right? So get order, we will be having only the specific order ID, and get orders, we will be having our customer ID. Cool. So both the functions is going to be used the same kind of functions from our repository. So let's go to repository here, and we can have orders. Right now what we will do here in the repository level, we will do a little bit tweaking. That's what we will do. We'll select like if order ID, if order is present, right? Then return order model by time one by ID. Alright. Only here is the ID. Okay. So let's return equals stuff from here. Then return order model by one. And this is what we do. This time we are sending customer ID. What is the send? That's already fine. Cool. So now this is we are going to execute from here. So orders. So this is get order. So first parameter we will just keep it as empty because customer ID we are not providing here, and only we need to provide the order ID. Order ID. Okay, and this is directly returned from here. Okay, and get orders is a kind of multiple orders for that specific customer ID. So return orders, the customer ID. So here we are not providing any order ID, right? So both the functions is going to call the same repository function, but there is a parameter difference. So we will be it should have to be fulfill our requirement accordingly. Cool. Now rest of all is perfectly fine, I believe. Okay, so this is why exactly we are using. We need to verify, but not right now. Let's see how our application is behaving right after this change. Cool. We have cards. Let's close all the tabs. Now we will check the shopping cart. Here in the shopping cart, you can see we have two products items, right? So let's try to create a kind of order from here. Create order, right? Create order. Something is going wrong. Okay, so what is going wrong? Let's find it out. It seems like create order is not a kind of function. Okay, so we forgot to change something which is called from the shopping.js line number 57. So go to the shopping.js line number 57. This is not create order. Create order. Okay, so we have a little typo here. Okay, create order. Now let's try to create once more. Now, yeah, can you see our order has been created successfully? Cool, perfect. Now it is done and it's going through. Right, if you can see in the shopping cart, and it should have to be empty. Now it is empty. All right, now only one scenario has to go. That is called our customer service. Whenever we are deleting our profile, and it has to clear our card and wishlist items as well as, right? So that is we need to do. So what we are going to do in the shopping service, we'll be handling that one by using the subscriber method. Click on the subscribe method. You can see it is handling the whole thing in earlier way, where we have added the subscriber and publisher pattern from the message broker. That is we are going to utilize right there. And now let's add that specific stuff. Okay, so here in the shopping service, this one is not required. Let's comment it out. And before that, we will be going to add one more function that's called async. That's right, yes. And this one we will use delete this one first because this has the specification is usually same our customer first, and they look for the user and just release them. Then delete this. Okay, so this one we have now added this one, right? So this function we have not added here. So let's add these functions right above this subscribe event. Okay, sync file data. Okay, cool. Now here again we need to call return this repository profile data and customer ID, or we can directly call these functions from here as well as, right, rather than having call this delete profile data. But just to make sure, like rather than making dirty, or maybe if we can have a kind of validation, then it'll be look awkward, right? Inside the switch cases, all the data, we don't want to make it dirty. So that's why actually I'm just keeping it in a separate way. So let's use this ID. Customer ID is going to be customer ID, right? User ID is this one. Okay, cool. Now this delete profile data we need to add in the repository. So let's go to the shopping repository here. Right after end of this file, we are going to add this specific function. Sync file data and return promise all, because we are performing two operations right here. That's why I'm just keeping as a kind of promise here. So inside the promise, let's say cart model dot find one and delete, find one and delete, and here customer ID. And same thing we are going to do for our wishlist as well as this model, find one and delete. That's cool. Now this is happening from, let's make sure, calling the correct function. Yes. All right, so in the shopping here, in the services, exactly we are getting called that specific function, which is called here subscribe events. Now it's time to test it from our customer service as well as. So let's add a couple of things to cart, add to cart, and add to wishlist as well as. So if you can see in the shopping cart, we can see some information in the shopping cart as well as, and the customer wishlist. We're calling this, we can see a lot of things are there, right? So let's go ahead and delete this customer profile from our customer service. We're going to call these endpoints from here. So make sure that that specific endpoint is exist in the API level. And the customer, delete profile is exist. Now let's call. Yeah, you can see this is called, right? And right now, if we go here and if you can see the shopping cart, see it's null. And if you can see here in the customer wish list as well as, so it is not there. So somehow it is going wrong, but why exactly it is going wrong? Let's see what it is saying while we are just trying to get the data, because it doesn't exist, right? If you go here in the MongoDB in the local database, we don't have anything, right? This specific things is breaking down right here in the line number 52 of the shopping service. So let's go here in line number 52 or add a kind of stuff here, which is called wishlist, and we will try to find if wishlist is true, right? Then wishlist is not true, then return empty object here, else const wishlist and products. Okay, cool. Now if you try to get to wishlist, then it shouldn't have to be break, right? So yeah, it is again up, and we are just to try to get to wishlist. Now you can see we are getting empty object and application is not breaking down. But this is not the kind of ultimate solution right here, because we are just trying it out to check whether it is there or not. But in this case, we should have to throw some kind of error that wishlist is not found or something else. So that part is called error handling, which is we are going to handle or we are going to cover in the next episode. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this video tutorial. And as you can see how we have removed all the tightly coupled dependencies to a specific service, the responsible service, and how the communication is happening through with the help of the publisher and subscriber and with the help of RPC. And so you can go ahead and you can do much more stuff, new stuff, or maybe you can create a kind of new microservice to introduce the communications between like add the product or maybe availability, stock, and price and all. So intercommunications can be possible. So there are much more professional way to do microservices stuff, but always just keep in mind wherever exactly microservice is necessary, then only just to do go with the microservice architecture, because it has a lot of pros and cons also. So definitely I'm going to record a kind of new video tutorial by explaining like what are the things we need to keep, or when we supposed to go with the microservice architecture or distributed architecture in order to accomplish something. Okay, cool. All right, so just a kind of recap what we did today in this episode, right? So first of all, we have refactored a little bit in this customer API. All right, we just kept all the meaningful informations to the customer service. And secondly, we just went to our product service here. In the product service, we have exposed a kind of RPC call where we are just responding to certain calls whenever we are calling from the shopping service, right? While we will be trying to add some items to the cart, right? Then we are making kind of RPC call and getting the latest product information from the product service, and we are adding to the cart. The same way we did for our wishlist as well, as whenever we are getting adding items to the wishlist, then we are getting all the information. If the specific product is unavailable, then it will instantly show to the front end, right? And finally, we just created our order. That order has been created on the base of like the saved it card and all. And maybe in future we can do much more good things or maybe advanced things while customer is keeping the items to the cart for a long time. Then we can just invalidate a specific product if it is not available from the stock, right? So much more new things it will come in future. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video tutorial. And if you have not subscribed my channel, subscribe it right now, because there are a lot of new tutorials and new interesting topics. It will come very shortly. Then see you in the next episode, where we will work on the error handling, and we will add some kind of the pro level of the error handling techniques in the Node.js application. All right, thank you very much.